A New Generation by Swish Yellow. Between 1969 and 1976, there were some reports from all over the United States that a few people have begun to show some different abilities. Scientists went through the reports and read there were only a few young people who began to show signs of including of telekinesis and telepath. The scientists first thought it was as a joke, but then sent the young people to a state research center. The scientists would carry out some tests on the young people's abilities to try to figure out how they control the powers. The test showed the young people's brain showed a higher activity than normal size, but they could not figure out how the abilities came from. So far, the scientists thought it was just a coincidence. It was just quiet for a while. But it started to get into new reports from locations around the nation from young people and children with other abilities. At first, it was held as a secret, but then, after 2 years of research, scientists learned similar cases have been detected in France, in the UK and Ireland. How did the researchers in the United States with the public of their research or discovery? So it began with more and more reports coming on from all other parts of the world with young people with different abilities. Some had developed a healing factor, night visions, and a foresight of the future. As it enters new cases of young people had researchers and scientists and doctors no way to see if the child would develop their powers. But as they came to more cases over time, so each country introduced a registry to keep track of all the people they called superpower people. Over time, every country had a task as solving the riddle to see who will be born with the different abilities. 40 years later, the number of so-called super people had greatly increased, and they're around now about 1.5 million around the world, and many are born and develop their abilities during childhood or in their teens. Between 1989 and 2002, there have been other reports of people who have developed 2 different abilities at the same time, but there were only a few reported cases. At last, scientists from the United States, with the cooperation of the United Kingdom, found a riddle to which receiving the abilities. They discovered that a gene gives the person this special ability, and now they had developed a test which could determine whether the person had the gene and would develop any power. The test had passed the test on the first doctor in the UK and United States in a couple of hospitals where there were 100 people. About 4 and 5 people came positive tested by the test. In 2016, the 26-year-old Ryan went with his family to a local hospital in Dallas to do a test. His parents went first, but their tests were negative. Then was his 8-year younger sister, Alice, and his 4 younger brother, Simon. Both of his siblings were negative, but there was now time for Ryan, but he stopped. "Ryan, are you not taking the test?" asked Ryan's mother, Erica. "No, I'm not," said Ryan. "Because I already know that I am positive," said Ryan. "Do you have an ability?" asked Brian, Ryan's father. "Yes, I have telepathic, but that is not my only ability." "Do you have a second ability?" asked Simon. "Yes, I have," said Ryan. "What is the other ability?" asked Alice. "It is a healing factor, so my body heals 3 times faster than normal," answered Ryan. How long have you known your abilities? Asked Alice. For 9 years, said Ryan. His parents looked at him with a surprised look. They couldn't believe what they heard, that their oldest son was a super person. The doctors called for a medic, who approached Ryan from behind. He knew that all super people has been detected is brought to a state private hospital to do more tests. There they will be trained so they can control their powers before they can be released into the public without harming others. Before he was taken away, he promised his parents to write to them, and they promised to write back. Ryan was taken to a bus where he saw a number of other young people, and they were driven to an outskirts of Austin. When he and the other young people were let into a room, they were informed by Major Jason that they had been taken to a facility that were to be at their school, where they would be trained to control their powers and to simply test to ensure they can control so there would be any harm to the public when they were released. You will meet your families when you're made your home here on this facility, and you will get your mail every week. Hope you will enjoy. Ryan looked at the major, but felt that something was wrong, but he let it go away. But he got to know the others in the facility. He became roommate with a boy named Josh, who was a year younger, and he had telekinesis. During the following weeks, the facility did Ryan and the others simple tests and received letters from their families. Ryan wrote to his family and told them that he has a good life, that he has made some new friends, and was waiting to meet them again. But what he didn't know, he would never live to meet his family when he was in the facility. But he was then find out he had a chance to read the mind of one of the staff. He read the lieutenant's thoughts to the young people's letters they received was not written on by their families, but by Major Jason's staff, who deceived the young people. One night, when Ryan was in his bed, he was looked that he was asleep, but he used his telepathic abilities to read the Major's thoughts and got his hunch confirmed. He did not really know what to think about it. He knew how Josh will take the news, but he couldn't tell without being filmed, for the facility was monitored. So the day he trained and performed some testing without force, but before the evening, he would reveal everything to Josh. After they both went to sleep, Ryan used his telepathic power to talk to Josh. Josh, can you hear me? But don't pretend that you're asleep, asked Ryan. Yes, I can hear you, answered Josh. Major Jason tricked us all. The letters we received is his staff who's writing them, said Ryan. And we will never meet our families, said Ryan. We'll be going to send to different facilities. We'll be all down here and become a part of the military, said Ryan. It can't be true, said Josh. Sorry, but it's true, said Ryan. What should we do? Asked Josh. We'll take everyone here to escape, answered Ryan. But I will tell the others and make a plan for our escape, said Ryan. Until then, we need to play as we don't know anything, said Ryan. Yes, we must, said Josh. The following days went Ryan used his telepathic power to tell the news to others. But the young people first didn't believe but some began to believe in Ryan, so did the others. Ryan still planned how to would they escape from the facility. While he trained his telepathic, he noticed that it was getting stronger every time, and he would use what strong enough that he could use to leave the facility with the others with his help with his powers. That night, when Ryan pretended to sleep, he used the telepathic to tell everyone about the escape that will take place that night. He used the telepathic and got the security guard to turn off all the cameras and turn off the security system and unlock the doors to all rooms. Then he used telepathic to put entire staff to sleep, so he and the others could escape. When they were free, so asked one of them, a young people named Sarah. "How do we get out from here?" asked Sarah. "We will use one of their buses," said Ryan. "I've learned how to drive a bus from one of the drivers," said Ryan. Josh had used his telekinesis and gained the keys, and all they ran to the garage where they found the buses. Ryan started the bus and drove them all away. Ryan told them that they would then leave the bus and get a different vehicle, because the military would be unable to track the bus with the number plate. After they had driven a number of kilometers, Ryan stopped the bus along a dirt road, and they all left it there and went to the woods. They came to a small town where they were hiding to rest. They took shelter in an empty building. "We can't walk anymore," said Sarah. "We stop here for the rest and continue tomorrow," said Ryan. I will stay up to keep a watch," said Ryan. The others lay on the floor and fell asleep while Ryan was awake. He used his telepathic to make sure that no one found them there. In the morning, all woke up and discovered that Ryan was not there. They thought he has abandoned them. But then they heard someone approaching and they were afraid. But they saw it was Ryan. "Where have you been?" asked Josh. "I have been and bought some breakfast for us," said Ryan. "How did you get the money?" asked Sarah. "I borrowed some money from one of the guards," said Ryan. "Go ahead, eat," said Ryan. Ryan handed out the sandwiches to the others, and they will eat them in peace. When they were finished, they all wondered what they should do now. "The military will suddenly look for us," said Josh. "Yes, we can't hide forever," said Sarah. "No, but we're going to San Antonio," said Ryan. "Why would you go there?" asked Josh. "I have made contact with the group like us there last night," said Ryan. "They will bring us all in and protect us," said Ryan. "We will leave immediately," said Ryan. "But how will we get there?" asked Megan. "We will take the bus there," said Ryan. "We had to go now, so we would miss the bus," said Ryan. So they all went to the bus station. Thanks to Ryan's money, they all had afforded to buy a ticket for the trip, but they were all worried about they would be came there safely to destination. But the trip was perfectly safe, and they came to Santiago and found the house. The house was owned by a woman named Sonia, who was the mother of a young girl in Ryan's age named Olivia. Olivia's mother had saved a couple of young people with powers, and now they kept them safe. "Welcome to safety," said Sonia. "Thank you," said Ryan. "I have a question," said Josh. "Ask away," said Sonia. "Are you a super person?" asked Josh. "No, I'm ordinary. But my daughter is one like you," said Sonia. They all had to meet Olivia, who was glad to meet more like her and everyone in the house. and they all went to get along well. But Ryan knew they wouldn't be left in peace from the military. He planned to do something about it. Olivia told that her power was that she can control electricity. Ryan had heard that parents around the world were afraid that what will happen to their children, and Ryan wanted to tell them, but he didn't know at first how. But then he realized that he could use his telepathic power to spread the truth, that what he and his others has been involved with the military. He told his plans for the others, and that he would use his telepathic to try to make contact with a large number of people at a greater distance. But it sounds dangerous, said Olivia. Yes, but I can handle it, said Ryan. I just need to focus and a little silence, but then it will go, said Ryan. Ryan sat in his room and focused on his telepathic power. It was quiet around him. He started to use his telepathic power, and so he got touched with both super people and non-super people around the city. He told them about his friend's experience, and even his friends could hear his thoughts. They were so proud of him, but after a while there was a silence, and they went to his room and found him exhausted. Are you okay? asked Sarah. Yeah, I'm okay, said Ryan. I just need some rest, he said. And soon, the news spread throughout the city and the rest of the world about Ryan's message. And soon started several super people come forward in the public and was not afraid anymore. Now the military had no right to do any testing on them anymore. Sometime later, during a demonstration, where a group of super people led by Ryan tried to get the people in the city to accept them, but one of the officers who tried to stop the fight fired a single shot straight to Ryan's head, and he fell to the ground. Everyone was scared, and many ran away. Sarah, who was with Ryan, leaned over him and was afraid that he was dead. But then she saw the bullet fell to the ground, and Ryan opened his eyes. You are alive? Said Sarah. Yes, thanks to my quick healing ability, said Ryan. I was afraid to lose you, said Sarah. I love you, Ryan, said Sarah. I love you too, Sarah, said Ryan. He standing up and kissed her, and everyone in the people saw them, that he was alive. It was not long after Ryan had contacted the United Nations to speak to world leaders about his people's future and security. At first, he didn't believe that the United Nations would be taking his request as quickly as after 1 week. He traveled to New York with Sarah and Josh. Ryan was sitting up to the Council of the United Nations, while Sarah and Josh were sitting next to him. He first looked out over the hall on the all world's leaders. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen from all over the world. My name is Ryan Jones, and I am a super person, and I am the ambassador for my people around the world. I come here to the United Nations to speak to all of you of my people's future. I know that many of you are afraid or even concerned to all of us. I can completely understand. I was scared when I discovered that I could read other people's thoughts, but I kept it as a secret for 10 years. Even from my own family. I was afraid what they would do if they found it out. All and I of my people want is to live in peace and coexistence with the rest of the world. We pose no threat to you. All we ask is to live side by side with you. We don't want to have our own nation or a place in UN, but we want just to be getting to be accepted for what we are. I will live for a very long time since I hailed 3 times faster, I would see many of my friends come and go. So listen to our request to allow us live with you. That is all we want for asking you for. Thankful that God will speak in the UN. So Ryan stepped down and went with Josh and Sarah to a room where they later learned that the UN leaders had agreed to their request. Their friends were happy for the news. 2 years later, Ryan and several others founded their own town in Iowa, as they named Hope. They formed a town council that Ryan was a member of. Ryan and Ryan's Sarah was married in the year 2019. And then they got 2 daughters, who were named Jennifer and Danielle. Ryan was a member of the city council for about 35 years between 2018 and 2053. Ryan had heard that several other countries had ministers or members of governments who were super people, who did do anything to maintain peace and order. Ryan became advisor to the city council and chose to live in retirement with Sarah. Now that Ryan was at age 63, he looked like he was 30 years old. But when Sarah was 79 years old, she passed away, and Ryan took it hard and mourned for a while. But he had his children and grandchildren that made him feel happy again. Ryan lived in the same house that he and Sarah moved in 88 years. Ryan died himself at the year 2165 at the age of 175. He had experienced at least a number of generations of his family. He was accomplished as a town hero when he struggled that his people would have get the rights and peace and freedom. He was buried with Sarah after 95 years.